Bill, we were talking about the differences in development styles and all the controversy between Waterfall and Agile. And at user-centered design, you said you came up with a pretty good way of which applies and which fits where. I'd like you to cover that answer again, please.
Well, one of the things that we've talked about is separating design from development. I think the difference between Waterfall and Agile or even other processes falls out once you make that separation. If a site was perfectly designed or a product was perfectly designed, in a sense the relationship then between the business analysts coming up with the requirements, the interaction designers and other design team members coming up with the solution, and then turning it over to development looks very much like a waterfall process. Yes, they will loop back if there's issues to be resolved, but it should flow very naturally like waterfall. But the development process is a different story, and it can follow an agile process. It could follow a number of different processes and still work. So I think the question of waterfall versus agile is really a question of, is it just the development process, or are we talking about the entire design and development process, and should you mix them together?
So when we start with a major project, new concept, that starts off waterfall, and then this is more of an agile methodology in the construction of it?
I think it could be. I think the waterfall would probably turn a little bit more into a spiral model in the beginning. You know, the business analysts assume they've defined the requirements and they flow down to the design team, but the design team has some questions. So it starts to waterfall, but you may have to go back and refine some things. But the problem is when you flow this far enough down into development and you start the development process, you really have to have a finished design, or that process will fall apart and the whole project will go out of scope. You'll get feature creep, you'll get cost increases, you'll get delays in schedule. Nothing works well. So it almost has to be waterfall from the design to development. You have to be sure you're building the right thing before you start building, in an ideal world, of course.
Yeah, I think the line that we used from another conversation was that you can be taking solid steps, but if nobody's looking at the direction, you can march right on off the cliff.
It's a great process, you just don't know where you're going.
So they each have their place and value.
I think so.
Okay.
And we don't throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Okay, appreciate that, Bill, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good.